Hello, I'm Robin Bilazarian, and I'm here today with Kelvin Foster, who's a chaplain, and we are here to talk about self-care for hospital, medical, first responders, and all these people that are doing all this wonderful care for us um, during this stressful time. So, Kelvin, can you introduce yourself and your background?
Sure. First of all, I want to say hello to everyone, and I just want to say thank you for the service that you're doing. This is a very challenging time for you as a public service, and we hope that the information that we share here you will find to be very helpful. A little bit about my background. I'm a former firefighter EMT. I'm also a Navy veteran, and I'm a retiree from the Department of Veteran Affairs. So currently I serve as a hospital chaplain at a level 2 trauma center, a chaplain with the local fire district in my area, and also with the American Red Cross. And so I'm very pleased to be able to share this tool called EFT with you.
Okay. So my background is I'm a licensed clinical social worker practicing psychotherapy in New Jersey. In addition, I spent 14 years working in a level 1 trauma unit, working with the staff. They called me an employee assistance counselor. I do have a book. I've written a book, and additionally, what we're going to show you here today, I'm on a national tour for a company teaching psychotherapists how to do this all across America, and it's really very exciting and very rewarding. What Kelvin and I have in common is we have this mutual admiration and extensive use of a technique that's called the emotional freedom technique, also called tapping. And we do this because it's effective. We both went into this to help people, and this is more effective than anything we've ever seen. So let me tell you how I explain EFT, and then I'm going to ask Kelvin to explain EFT, okay? So I'm a psychotherapist, and besides doing talk therapy, I use some light touch acupressure. And the reason I do is because it's very relaxing. And you and I and Kelvin will yawn and sigh while we're doing this. The yawning and sighing is significant. It means that you're kicking yourself out of the sympathetic nervous system of fight, flight, freeze, and foggy brain. And you're kicking yourself into a relaxation response. By the way, all healing happens in the relaxation response. Why that's important is because when you are working with trauma, and you are, every day you're working with trauma and what you're doing right now, and death and serious things, if you don't have moments where you relax, then your immune system is affected because you are just putting out energy and you're never getting to relax enough so that your own immune system will relax. And that's what we're trying to show you. In addition, I just want to tell you there's 100 research projects on that, but the one that I quote the most is one that they did a cortisol study. They did saliva, and they showed that only the people that were doing EFT, that their cortisol level dropped 24% after half an hour. I'm happy to tell you it was just reproduced in Australia, and they got a 43% cortisol reduction. So that's somewhat of the science. It does go up to the amygdala, and you are trying to calm yourself down so that you have a chance to heal. And so that's more of a scientific description. And Kelvin, how do you explain this to the people that you're working with?
Well, I can tell you that in addition to working with first responders and disaster clients, I also work with middle school kids. And one of the things that I found to be most helpful to them is to share that we're trying to get you back within your window of tolerance. So we're all shaped with a certain amount of stress tolerance that we're comfortable operating in. And sometimes when crisis comes in our life, it takes us above that or below that. So if you can imagine that this right here is a brain. When you're stressed, this part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline. The tapping actually calms the amygdala, which is your fight, flight, or freeze signal. And it also brings the prefrontal cortex back online so you can think a lot more clearly. When you go to a critical incident as a first responder, you're going through that cycle over and over again. When you come back to the station, this is a technique that I have found working with my first responders as well as personally, that this is one of the things that helps me to process that and gets me back to that state of homeostasis.
Mm-hmm. I think Kelvin and I will both say that we've used it extensively on ourselves, and it's made a tremendous difference in our disposition and the way that we feel after we've worked on people, and also just in terms of taking down our own issues, because everybody has issues. Certainly we both have issues. I want to show you a way to do this, particularly if you're incredibly stressed. And I'm going to work with the body first. And what happens when you're not even aware that this is going on, but what happens is when anything horrible happens to you, you store it in your body, you remember it in your body. And so I'm going to ask you all to tune into the horrible things that you've had to see and work with recently, and go there and think about them just for 5 seconds. And now that you've thought about them, I'm going to ask you, where do you feel that stress in your body? And a lot of people will tell me it's a tight throat, pressure in their chest, butterflies in their stomach, headache, tightness in their jaw. And so you decide which one it is that you're feeling. And I'm going to show you how to do this. We are using light touch acupressure. It does come from Asia and China, and it is 2,000 to 5,000 years old there. So tune into whatever is going on in your body right now. And I'm going to ask you to take all the thoughts of all those horrible things that you've had to work with, and all the shortages and everything else that has just thrown you under the bus. And I'm going to ask you to take them all those thoughts, and mentally toss them out to the street. Just get rid of them. We're going to quiet the body first. And so follow me, if you will. And Kelvin's going to be my echo, and you're going to repeat with Kelvin as if Kelvin is you. Okay, so even though my body is flying.
Even though my body is flying.
I'm a good person and I accept myself.
I'm a good person and I accept myself.
My body is pumping.
My body is pumping.
And I can feel my body throbbing everywhere.
And I can feel my body throbbing everywhere.
My heart is jumping out of my chest.
My heart is jumping out of my chest.
My throat is tight.
My throat is tight.
And by the way, you may not feel all of these. I should stop here for a second and just remind you, please go wash your hands. There is touching of your face here, but we're not touching eyes, nose, and mouth. And those are the crucial areas that you should not be touching. Under the nose, my body is really pumping.
My body is really pumping.
And I really feel very out of sorts with myself.
And I feel very out of sorts with myself.
My body is achy.
My body is achy.
And my body feels like it's running a marathon in place.
And my body feels like it's running a marathon in place.
And I'm exhausted.
And I'm exhausted.
And I'm overly excited.
And I'm overly excited.
And I just don't know what to do with myself.
And I just don't know what to do with myself.
I just can't seem to calm down.
I just can't seem to calm down.
And what I really want to do is just scream and scream.
And what I really want to do is just scream and scream.
And I might just scream and scream.
And I just might scream and scream.
And if I do, that's okay.
And if I do, that's okay.
And my body is just pumping.
My body is just pumping.
And I just want it to quiet down.
And I just want it to quiet down.
Quiet down, body.
Quiet down, body.
I need you to quiet down.
I need you to quiet down.
And I need you to rest.
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 You could go through that as many times as you need to calm down. So I would ask you to tune back into where your body is right now and see what number you're at now. And the hope is that you've dropped 2 to 4 points, and just keep repeating that. Now, Kelvin does this a little bit differently than I do, but it's still on the same thing. And again, go wash those hands for 20 seconds. Just stop, just pause this video, and I will show you ways that you can do it without touching your face too. Kelvin, how would you do this?
Okay, so I would say that if I was and I'll use an example, I was just in Tennessee with the tornado disaster victims. So I would say start with the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I feel this anxiety.
Even though I feel this anxiety.
In my body.
In my body.
And it's about a 7.
And it's about a 7.
I deeply.
And
completely.
Love
and appreciate myself.
Love and appreciate myself.
I feel all this anxiety in my body.
I feel all this anxiety in my body.
And it's about a 7.
And it's about a 7.
But I deeply. And completely.
Love
and appreciate myself.
Love and appreciate myself.
This anxiety in my body.
This anxiety in my body.
Is about a 7.
Is a 7.
but I deeply
but I deeply
and completely
and completely
love and appreciate myself.
love and appreciate myself.
The top of your head, all this anxiety in my body.
All this anxiety in my body,
Corner of the eyebrow, this anxiety in my body.
this anxiety in my body.
Side of the eye, I have this anxiety in my body.
I have this anxiety in my body.
Taking a deep breath through your nose and out your mouth. Below the eye, I still have this anxiety.
I still have this anxiety.
Below the nose, all this anxiety.
All this anxiety.
Below the lip, this anxiety in my body.
This anxiety in my body.
Collarbone, this anxiety is about a 7.
This anxiety is about a 7.
Take a deep breath. I have this anxiety in my body.
I have this anxiety in my body.
I still have some anxiety in my body.
I still have anxiety in my body.
Taking a deep breath again. And now I want you to check in with your body and see if there's been a shift in that number.
Yeah, I'm down to about a 3.
Okay, and so that's something that you can, if 3 is not good for you, you can still take it down by, you can still take it down lower by just repeating that process again.
Okay. So I want to show you something that's 3 rounds. And the first round is going to be all negative. And that's because when we say something, we release it. In other words, what a lot of people try to do is suppress what has happened to them. And actually, when you say the horrible things, it releases it. And it's actually the truth. It's the truth of what happened. The second round is going to be negative and positive. It represents the ambivalence that we feel. We feel like this is really horrible, yet I really feel more productive than I felt my whole entire life, okay? And the third round is just positive. In addition, I'm going to switch from the, you may notice that I'm doing light touch and Kelvin is doing tapping. I'm going to show you some options if you don't want to, touch your face in this virus, okay, during this virus time. So follow me if you will. And I'm going to say, even though I can't believe how awful this is, I'm a good person and I accept myself.
Even though I can't believe how horrible this is, I'm a good person and I accept myself.
Okay, top of head, and let's just leave your hand on there. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
And we're going to skip everything on the face and go to collarbone. It's just so much horror.
It's just so much horror.
Under the arm, the people just keep coming and they're so sick.
The people just keep coming and they're so sick.
And I just don't know what I'm going to do.
And I just don't know what I'm going to do.
This is tapping on the wrist. I just have never seen so many sick people in my life.
I just have not seen so many people in my life.
This is a heart hold. And I don't know that I can handle this.
And I don't know that I can handle this.
Okay, that's all negative, and please use your own words if my words don't fit for you. Next round. These people are so sick.
These people are so sick.
And I don't know that I have the stamina.
And I don't know that I have the stamina.
But I do have the stamina.
But I do have the stamina.
And I'm really surprised.
And I'm really surprised.
The infighting seems to be gone.
The infighting seems to be gone.
And we're making it.
And we're making it.
Okay, last round is just positive. I have never felt so productive in my life.
I have never felt so productive in my life.
I have trained for this for years.
I have trained for this for years.
And even though I haven't trained for exactly this,
and even though I haven't trained for exactly this,
my skill set is being used greater than I ever expected.
My skill set is being used greater than I ever expected.
And I feel so productive.
And I feel so productive.
Tired and productive.
Tired and productive.
Okay. So that's just another way that you can do that, ending on the positive, if you will. You can start with the negative, then go to the negative and positive, and end there. So we have quite an opportunity here today because we have someone who's a chaplain, and that's really exceptional. And I've asked Kelvin to see what he can do so that as we wind down this self-care thing, that he may say a few words to those of us who do have a spiritual, faithful reliance on and hope that our our religious, a divine person is taking care of us. So Calvin, if you can.
So I would just say to those who have a faith tradition, whatever that faith tradition is, hold on tight to that. This is not the time to sort of push it away. I've been on a number of environments, whether it's a mass casualty event or dealing with this. And so my faith has been something that's really gotten me through that. In fact, I learned about EFT as a result of my prayer. So I would encourage you to trust that no matter what you're going through, you're going to be okay. The God that got you here will keep you through this. I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm going to tell you that I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian. And so I look to the scriptures to give me strength. God said in his word that he'll never leave us or forsake us. And I believe that. And I believe that he's there with you as well. Be there for each other. And if you're a person of faith, be there for your colleagues, even though that might not be something that's helpful to them. Your presence is God's presence because he resides within you. So I would just say, again, thank you for the work that you do, the wonderful work that you do, and be strong, hang in there.
And I think both Calvin and I want to say thank you for all that you do. You are the heroes of today. We could not get through this together, and your sacrifice is enormous. And we are doing what we know how to do, which is to support you. And we can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing. So I'm going to just do one more thing with EFT, and I'm going to try and combine things. So follow me if you will. Even though these times are harder than anything I've ever seen.
Even though these times are harder than anything I've ever seen.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And know that my faith will be there when I need it.
And know that my faith will be there when I need it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.